going to be holding the mandrel. Really, it's resting on my pinky. I'm pulling the glass from the glass rod using these two fingers, working a little bit closer to the front rather than to the back, because that'll give me more control to cleanly pull that glass thread. Okay, I'm going to be warming up my work area, the bead release, but I don't want to hit that flame only in one spot, because that could weaken and crack that bead release. So from now until the end of time, I'm rotating and I'm bouncing in and out of the flame from behind the flame. Okay, and I'm looking for that flash of orange that will indicate, there it is, that the work area is hot enough to accept the glass. Okay, and just so you know, warming the bead release and warming the glass rod are not two separate events. If I'm sitting down to make a bead, I do them both at the same time. I'm just breaking it down into steps for the purposes of the tutorial. So really, you sit down, you grab your two items, and you go to work, right? I'm warming up the work area on the mandrel and my glass rod. Remember how I was introducing it to the flame as well, so that it doesn't shoot little bits and pieces around. I'm pointing it away from myself, okay, and down towards the work surface, so that if little pieces jump, they'll jump here. I don't enter at this angle, because then the pieces will jump towards my unprotected arm. Okay. Once I don't start low either. I enter the flame higher so that it's cooler, and then I slowly introduce that glass rod, okay, so that it becomes acclimated to the heat. Once I know it's not going to be poppy, I'll move it down into a comfortable work position. My goal is to build up a glass ball on the end of this rod, the gather, and so to do so, I'll angle that glass rod a little bit so that it can more easily ball up. And I'm not rotating the glass rod, I'm just rocking it back and forth. It'll start to drip, right, and then I'll catch that drip with a half turn. Wonk. Right, drips, and then I catch it. And if I keep doing that, I'll just sort of rock back and forth, and at the same time making sure that my bead release work area is flashing occasionally. You don't want to overheat it, but occasionally. So now I've got enough glass. I'm going to transfer that glass. I'm going to leave the flame. I'm going to pause, let that glass cool, touch, pull to create a thread, and then I'm pulling the glass from the glass rod with my left hand, and I'm laying the glass down. I'm creating the width of my base at the moment, right? So it's not in one place, because then the bead will just it'll just be very tall and thin. So I'm moving my left hand left to right to guide that thread left to right, so that it lays out in a wider fashion rather than just one spot where it'll just get tall. Okay. Now, remember the bead? Up, 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 occasionally. Up, 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 up. Coming in and out of the flame, rotating, keeping it warm so that it doesn't cool and shock, while at the same time building up my next gather of glass. Okay. So I'm going to leave the flame, pause, let that glass cool, then touch it, and then left to right, thread and bobbin, send that glass across the surface of the flame. I mean, the surface of the bead. We'll do one more Remember the glass rod itself, always stationary at the back of the flame. Okay? All of my movement comes from my left hand. We'll do it one more time. Pause, let that cool a little bit. Touch, and then turn, turn, turn. Take advantage of the fact that you've got some molten glass ready to travel. Woo! Alright, so now, when I finish up sanding glass, okay, I always do the same thing. I bring the bead and the glass rod close together, and I get the flame in between the two, and that cuts the thread.